Hi guys, JT here, and today I'm bringing you some information on 10 games in Fanatical's Military Operations Bundle of October 2025. To help you answer the question,
should you buy it?
By using the links in the description below, you'll gain access to this bundle and support the channel in the process. Before I begin, I'd like to thank you, the viewers, who are watching my silly videos. I hope they're helpful. Most importantly, knowing that you're watching it means the world. Anyway, let's get into this. And number 1 we have Combat Mission Shock Force 2, a deeply tactical war game where you lead either a US-led NATO force invading Syria or defend as the Syrian army. It mixes real-time and WeGo, simultaneous turn-based gameplay, letting you plan each move and then watch your strategies unfold minute by minute. You're not just clicking units, you're commanding an entire battlefield where positioning, morale, and line of sight matter as much as firepower. Each scenario feels tense and grounded, from long-range desert engagements to chaotic city skirmishes. Whether you're storming entrenched defenses or making a last stand with outdated gear, every decision feels meaningful. The game rewards patience and strategic thinking, especially when you play as the under-equipped Syrian forces, where smart tactics can outshine superior tech. Visually, it is functional more than flashy, but its realism and depth are unmatched. However, the interface and tutorials feel dated. You'll be juggling PDFs and deciphering morale states more often than you'd like. Still, once you learn the systems, the immersion and detail are hard to beat. While dynamic campaign or replay system would elevate it further, Combat Mission Shock Force 2 remains one of the most authentic representation of modern warfare you can play. It's not for casual players, but if you crave genuine tactical depth and the satisfaction of outsmarting your opponent through planning and grit, this one's a must-play. And number 2 we have Combat Mission Black Sea, a deeply tactical war game where you drop into a fictional 2017 Russian invasion of Ukraine, where NATO steps in to push back. You command professional armies on both sides, Russia, NATO, or Ukraine, in tense battles where every movement and decision could mean the difference between victory and annihilation. Unlike its predecessor Shock Force 2, this time the enemy can match your tech and training, making every encounter feel truly deadly. The game's signature WeGo system lets both sides issue orders simultaneously, then watch the results play out over 1 minute of real time. It perfectly captures the chaos and delay of real command. You'll wince as your scout squad gets ambushed, or cheer as your tanks survive a missile strike. Urban combat is suffocatingly tense, while countryside skirmishes become sniper duels across kilometers of terrain. Every engagement feels deliberate, earned, and brutally realistic. Visually, the game is not flashy, but its scale and clarity make battlefield awareness smooth and satisfying. You can zoom from an overhead tactical view to boots on the ground details seamlessly. The biggest drawbacks are the dated interface and clunky PDF tutorial, features that make learning harder than it should be. Still, once you grasp its systems, the realism and depth are unmatched. Combat Mission Black Sea doesn't just simulate warfare, it makes you feel it. For anyone who craves authentic tactical combat, this one is essential. And number 3 we have Panzer Corps 2, a hardcore turn-based hex war game that pulls you deep into the strategy-heavy battlefields of World War II. If you've ever wanted to command an army group, balancing fuel, firepower, and finesse, this game puts you right in the boots. You guide your modular army through over 60 missions, mostly from the Axis side, with a commander of your choosing. Traits like industry connections lets you test experimental tech early. That depth shines in scenarios where maneuver warfare matters most, surrounding your enemies to cut supplies, seizing airfields to keep your bombers flying, or capturing rail depots to keep reinforcements rolling in. The visuals are easily best in class for the genre, featuring crisp models, camo variants, and terrain that finally does justice to the history books. Unfortunately, while it looks new, Panzer Corps 2 sticks closely to old-school wargaming roots. You'll spend a lot of time learning the difference between your Ossif B and Ossif E tanks, or suffering for not doing so. The campaign is rich, but bare bones between missions. There is little story scaffolding and no real planning tools between branches, which can leave you walking into traps without knowing. Multiplayer and co-op are available, but depend heavily on community engagement. With a handy undo button and solid tooltips, it's one of the more accessible complex wargames, but is still a dense, rule-laden beast. If you crave deep tactics and historical detail, it is worth it. If not, you might find yourself overwhelmed and underwhelmed at the same time. And number 4 we have Strategic Command World War II, World at War. This game puts you in command of the entire conflict, letting you play as either the Axis or allies across the globe. You can jump between nations, delegate control to the AI, or take over mid-campaign if your computer ally makes questionable moves. That freedom makes the experience feel fluid, experimental, and deeply replayable. You're never locked into one approach. It's all about adapting and managing your empire of war efficiently. At its core, everything revolves around one key resource: military production points, or MPPs. You earn them by capturing cities, controlling resource hubs, and protecting naval convoys. They're then spent on research, diplomacy, or unit production, keeping the game's systems fresh and intuitive. Despite the simplicity, there is surprising depth. Every decision about where to fight or who to reinforce has global consequences. Visually, the map is clear and detailed enough to communicate the essentials of supply lines and movements, while the historical labeling of units and events adds satisfying flavor for World War II buffs. Accessibility remains the game's strongest feature. Turns move quickly, the AI is capable, and you can hop in or out without losing your bearings. Still, the interface could use more tooltips and reminders, especially for new players juggling multiple fronts. But those minor issues fade once you're deep in the campaign. Strategic Command World War II World at War strikes a rare balance between historical authenticity and pure playability. And number 5 we have Flashpoint Campaigns Red Storm Players Edition, a deeply immersive operational level war game set during a hypothetical Cold War showdown in 1980s Central Europe. You assume the role of a NATO or Soviet commander, responsible for coordinating brigade or divisional level forces in a conflict that escalates towards full-scale war, including tactical nukes and chemical weapons. What makes this game unique is its innovative WeGo system, where you issue orders and then watch time progress as units execute your commands based on their command and control efficiency. It's not just about issuing orders, it's about planning ahead, adapting to the chaos of battle, and respecting the fog of war. Recon units are vital, artillery is king, and electronic warfare can cripple your opponent's tempo. The Player's Edition brings major improvements, such as enhanced UI, refined combat logic, and a smoother multiplayer experience. The new maps and visual tweaks bring clarity to an otherwise complex battlefield. Yes, the engine shows its age, and unit AI can be frustrating at times, but the depth and realism outweigh the rough edges. If you enjoy methodical turn-based strategy with a focus on realism and military tactics, this game rewards patience and planning. With over 20 scenarios, 4 campaigns, and extensive modding tools, there's substantial content and replayability. While the UI and learning curve may feel overwhelming at first, sticking with it transforms confusion into mastery. Flashpoint Campaigns Red Storm is a must-play for serious wargamers who crave detail, authenticity, and the thrill of commanding Cold War combat at scale. And number 6 we have Armored Brigade, a real-time tactical war game that throws you straight into a Cold War gone hot. You take command of NATO or Warsaw Pact forces and lead them across massive, real-world inspired European battlefields. It's not about flashy visuals or fast-paced action. It is about strategy, patience, and realism. You'll find yourself thinking like a true commander, managing command delays, setting ambushes, and coordinating tanks, infantry, and artillery with precision. Every decision matters. Send your troops into the open, and they'll pay the price. Use cover, elevation, and timing, and victory feels genuinely earned. What really makes it unique is its realism and flexibility. You can play any year from 1965 to 1991, with changing techs and tactics shaping each battle. The battle and campaign generators give you near infinite replayability, while mod support lets you build your own maps and armies. The AI doesn't just rush blindly, it flanks, reacts, and punishes mistakes. However, this is not a game for casual players. The 2D visuals are functional but dated, and the learning curve can be steep. There's no multiplayer, and some aspects like resupply or area fire are simplified. Still, once you understand its systems, you'll see why many call it the best Cold War gone hot simulator out there. Armored Brigade rewards thought, tactics, and patience, and when your plan works, you feel like a genius general. At number 7 we have Strategic Command World War II War in Europe, a grand strategy war game that puts you in charge of either the Axis or Allied powers during World War II. You'll command land, air, and naval forces across an enormous map stretching from North America to the Middle East, managing operations on a truly global scale. It is a hex-based turn-based experience, but one that balances realism with accessibility, keeping things engaging rather than overwhelming. You'll plan offensives, manage supply lines, and adapt your strategy to shifting fronts. Combat depends on terrain, morale, supply, and HQ support, and getting encircled can quickly turn a strong army into a shattered mess. The interface makes these systems easy to grasp, and the inclusion of a supply overlay is a lifesaver for planning large-scale movements. Unlike many war games, you can't stack units, but the ability to move, attack, and retreat gives you tactical flexibility. Air and naval warfare are present too, though land battles are where most of the excitement lies. Naval engagements can feel limited due to the 1 unit per hex rule, but they still play a vital supporting role. The AI puts up a real fight, reacting intelligently to your moves, while scripted events keep the campaign historically grounded. Whether you're reliving Barbarossa or defending Normandy, each scenario feels purposeful and balanced. Strategic Command World War II War in Europe is simple but deep, a rare war game that's both approachable and rewarding. You'll lose hours commanding your armies across history's biggest battlefield. And number 8 we have Scramble, Battle of Britain, a tactical dogfighting game that drops you straight into the summer skies of 1940. You take command of RAF or Luftwaffe squadrons in simultaneous turn-based battles where every loop, dive, and roll is planned, simulated, and analyzed in detail. Unlike twitchy flight sims, you don't need fast reflexes. You need sharp tactics and eye for aerial geometry. Each battle unfolds in 3 distinct phases: planning your maneuvers, watching them play out in real time, and reviewing every bullet and blackout frame by frame. It is thrilling to watch your formation weave through tracer fire, only for a single mistake to send a Spitfire spiraling into the channel. Aircraft damage, pilot fatigue, and even subsystem failures are modeled, down to fuel leaks and shredded control surfaces, giving every dogfight a gritty authenticity. The early access version already packs plenty to do. The Squadron Leader mode lets you guide 12 pilots through 30 days of brutal interception, while the dogfight generator throws you into custom skirmishes instantly. You will celebrate victories, mourn fallen pilots, and develop real attachment to your squadron. Performance can dip and the UI takes getting used to, but the physics-based model and tension-packed pacing make up for it. Scramble is part wargame, part cinematic flight drama, and all obsession once you get the hang of it. This game is a brilliantly tense and realistic turn-based air combat sim that rewards patience and precision. And number 9 we have Strategic Command World War I, a grand strategy war game that puts you in command of the Great War's global fronts. You direct nations, armies, fleets, and diplomacy in a vast turn-based conflict that captures both the brutality and complexity of 1914 to 1918. From the trench warfare to naval blockades and Zeppelin raids, every decision you make ripple across the map. You will manage resources through military production points, MPPs, representing your empire's ability to fund research, raise new corps, and influence allies. Balancing supply lines and morale becomes critical. Losing a city or a fleet doesn't just cost units, it breaks the spirit of your nation. Turns unfold fluidly, letting you plan, move, attack, and reinforce in any order before passing control to the AI, which performs surprisingly well without feeling unfair. Each scenario, from the guns of August to the desperate battles of 1917, offers different strategic challenges. Whether you're commanding the Central Powers or the Entente, you'll feel the grinding tension of trench warfare as artillery softens lines, infantry advances, and attrition decides the outcome. Visually, the map is detailed and clear, though the 3D unit models can look toy-like. Fortunately, mod support like the Blue Max counters adds a more authentic wargame feel. Easy to run, deep to master, and surprisingly immersive. Strategic Command World War I stands tall as one of the finest digital recreation of the Great War's grand strategy. This game is a smart, polished, and deeply satisfying World War I wargame. Long live the new king. And number 10 we have Battle Academy 2 Eastern Front, a tactical turn-based strategy game that shifts the fight to the brutal landscapes of World War II's Eastern Front. You control Axis or Soviet forces through 4 varied campaigns, commanding over 130 historically accurate units, from the nimble BT-7s to the fearsome Tigers and IS-2s, in missions that demand brain as much as firepower. Each battle unfolds on a grid-based map, where positioning, morale, and cover determine survival. Infantry can ambush from forests and buildings, tanks rely on flanking shots, and suppression mechanics turn firefights into intense tactical puzzles. The spotting system adds tension. Unseen enemies lurk in the fog, waiting for one wrong move. You quickly learn that in BA2, a rifle squad caught in the open won't last long. Random skirmish generation and a detailed mission editor offer endless replayability, while the BPEM++ multiplayer and new co-op mode make it easy to challenge friends or fight alongside them. Despite simplified visuals, BA2 captures the grit and unpredictability of small unit warfare better than most serious wargames. What makes it unique is accessibility. You don't need to study spreadsheets or read manuals. Just think tactically, adapt quickly, and use the terrain. Every victory feels earned, every loss a lesson. This game is a smart, accessible, and deeply replayable wargame that delivers real tactical depth without the usual complexity. War without the snore, and one of Slytherin's best. And that's all for this bundle. This bundle is not for everyone. If you're into cozy indies or flashy action games, you'll probably bounce right off of it. But if you're a strategy nut or a full-blown grognard, this thing's a feast. You're getting some seriously deep tactical warfare at a price that's borderline criminal. Sure, the visuals are old school and the learning curve is steep, but that's part of the charm. For armchair generals, this is basically Christmas early. In any case, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if this video was helpful, feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and maybe consider buying the channel a coffee. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.